a lot of these issues surrounding youth, especially those that are homeless. We just talked about how they become homeless for various reasons. And so once they come into, once they come in with you, what is the one of the first things that you do with these young people?
Well, my organization, what we do is we support other organizations who work directly with these youth. And we provide resources, material, technical assistance, capacity building to help them really gear their programs to address these needs. The ways that we do some of this support directly, which is something that we're getting into, is we're trying to create some retreats and small groups. But we really believe because permanent connections is important, we need to have a institution that is also connected to them because they can't get lost in this system. And so we connect with organizations who work directly with them, give them tools how to navigate it, and we also work with and this is where we get to our kind of second tier is a chosen family hosting.
Hmm.
And so that's really where our main work, our bread and butter is. And chosen family hosting is a situation where it's like give empowering the relationship, like where that youth goes the first day they're on the run. Not maybe after they've been out for 3 months, 4 months, but that first day, who is that they go to? So when they first before they first really get in depth with homelessness, they're going to a friend's parents' house. They're going to an uncle's house. They're going to a cousin, or they're going to their negative influence that might be an adult too.
Hmm.
And so that's where that permanent connections part comes in. And so in those situations, those relationships where youth is living with someone who is not their family, it's called a chosen family situation. And so
Hmm.
it's known federally, it's known internationally, but it's not really a common terminology or practice or has been merged into behavioral health or homelessness here in Minnesota. And so we work with those hosts. So if a host had a youth who they were letting house with them and they wanted some support. I mean, just even time to have the opportunity to talk about their experience with hosting this youth. And then we also have guides to try to help them leverage the power of that relationship in that person. They could be the one who can say, okay, let's sit down and have this conversation about what your long term goals are. How can we possibly get there? How can I get you linked up with support? We have we try to guide those conversations so that that youth, like you said, no one wants a youth who's not really doing much. And there are we have shared agreements that we can help you guys navigate those conversations that we can give as documentation. Like here's some work plans, here's some paperwork you can fill out to navigate these conversations, and it will kind of take down what the predictability of having something standard that guides that conversation is it really takes kind of the physical effects of the stress and trauma away from the youth and gives them a chance to separate and have a real action plan. And so we'll support these families who take on hosts. We're
Hmm.
trying to locate them because, like you say, this is what we do. I mean, it's a part of the natural Black culture that if we have a problem with youth, they're going somewhere close to a family member or something like that. So we're trying to do our systems change in a variety of ways, and the chosen family hosting and emphasis on that area is how we are trying to be the change until there is a change.
Hmm. I was just thinking when you said host, like host families, host adults, it's a difference between them and those adults who contribute to the delinquency of this young person and
Hmm.
help perpetuate the situation that they are and, you
Yeah.
know, make it escalate a little bit further. I found that, and I found that also that a lot of youth are too preoccupied with acting like they're not homeless,
Hmm. Hmm.
acting
I
like
was
they're
gonna say
not
that at some
homeless.
point in time today. That's true.
They're acting
Hmm.
like they're not, and I know it makes it hard for you to service them. And so I over the last like say 10 years, downtown. Now when I was doing well, let's go back maybe 15, go back to 2013. I was doing dropouts to drop-ins,
Hmm.
re-enrolling students back into high school so that they could finish.
Hmm.
and I encountered a lot then. I don't know where you guys were, but at the time, there was no way, there was no resource that I had to refer them to. There were some students who wanted to go back to school and stuff, but they did not have the stability, place to wash their clothes and that sort of thing. And they would not admit that they were homeless. They didn't say they didn't say where, whether or not, they had a place to stay, but they would, it was sometimes I wouldn't know that I didn't know how to help them,
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't all the way telling me, and then they would say, well, like, where I'm staying, I would hear that, and so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have enough information as where I couldn't even do an adequate referral. Um, I'm thinking, wow, you guys had to been around then. We probably have a whole lot more high school graduates because stability is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what you guys are doing is providing a degree of stability for the young people that they may be able to finish school or have a place to wash their clothes, wash themselves, and that sort of thing. Um, with the stuff that we see, like when we go to places like downtown,
Mm-hmm.
which is where a lot of these homeless youth hang
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Um, how would you, let's see, how would you approach a situation like that? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of your youth probably hang downtown and in malls and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think you kind of have to think, you have to address it short term, immediate, and kind of long term, how to reverse the effects. So our program serves to really complement the systems that are already in place. We're not trying to replace anything that's already shown a good usefulness. We're about systems change and how the system is approaching that. And so we have to have available resources and more. Hi, beautiful lady just showed up, Miss Juneteenth. We had to have resources available. We number one, we definitely physically need more beds, but those institutions have to, have the opportunity to link with providers who are equipped to deal with the long-term effects of being homeless or what got them there. I think if you're, interacting with, if you want to be prepared as a community provider, just driving down the street, what can I do? I have a passion. Always keep a pack of something in your car, big or small if you can. Because sometimes, dealing with homelessness is really different than like dealing with addiction or, other things, because sometimes a lot of it is because it's very out of your control at times. Once you get there, it's very unpredictable. Once you get there, and so sometimes even just that one spark, that it's very isolating as well. And loneliness is a big key to depression. And so sometimes that small little connection that you make with someone you think you'll never see them again, it can literally be life changing
Hmm.
for an individual. And then always carry an can, and we have to get more information out there. There needs to be a large scale public awareness campaign pulling these youth out of the darkness, because they'll roam and you won't know who they are, but there's always probably someone who they contact and connect with, and they got it. That's that person. That's why we as a community need to be, prepared to kind of talk, show some love, let them know that it's a journey. It's not, it's not a race, and that they actually belong in the community. So sometimes I know that um, we have expectations on how we expect our youth to be. And I think there's a huge factor with what's going on now that is impacting where they are now. And if we were going to do our approach 5 years ago is different than our approach right now. And I really want to emphasize that. And so just kind of meeting them where they're at. Sometimes just a simple conversation will make a lifetime of difference that we wouldn't think it would.
I think so too. And what I want to do is I want to talk about the youth and how it relates to mental health because I've got a mental health specialist sitting here. We're going to come back. We're going to introduce her as well. We're not going to beat her up for being late, but nonetheless, it's all relevant. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about all of this because I feel like that, we always are justice of the peace. We always bring community entities together that can really work together. It's one of those type of effects. So we're going to come back in right after a couple of minutes. Is that all right?
Works for me.
You're tuned in to the Twin Cities Radio Network. We'll be right back. Okay, we're off mic. And what do you think this is coming in late like this here?
I totally apologize. How are you?
Yeah, And once again, thank you for tuning in to the Twin Cities Radio Network. Let me remind you that on June 5th, that's right, June 5th, I can't emphasize enough. It's Tales from the North Side, which is a story of Flight Time. Flight Time, as you know, was an original group out of the Twin Cities that was formed even while Prince was still a single individual artist. And it was Flight Time that became the time. A lot of people don't know that, but Flight Time had a composer, arranger, person who did all of their stuff for them. You know, they consisted of Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and the composer and arranger. His name was Alexander O'Neill. And from what I gather, with all of the many stories that happened around the Twin Cities, is that a prince approached them and basically asked them to get rid of Alex, and he would take them on tour with him. And that's how they became the time because they couldn't take the name Flight Time. And it's spelled different ways because of rights and that sort of thing. Anyway, coming up, yeah, getting back to the Capri to hear stories from the band Flight Time, there is an effort to raise a sound museum, a Minneapolis sound museum here in the
Mm.
Twin Cities. And one of the people I know that I'm in direct contact with, who this burden has kind of been put on his shoulders, is one of our local, national, international, but very, very humble individual who's at home in Minneapolis, St. Paul, no matter where he goes. And that's Jelly Bean Johnson. And this is coming up. This is coming up on the 5th, which is next Wednesday. It will be a performance. It will be some of the people who are part of the original Minneapolis sound. You know, a lot of people don't understand, but when I ask a question, do you know who the first person was to get a recording contract out of Minneapolis? It was with Warner Brothers. Who was that?
I do not know.
I'm always gonna say Prince. So.
Everybody's going to always say Prince, but it was actually Rocky Robbins who was one of the first to get a recording contract. And there's information like that. Like I just found out today, or yesterday, as a matter of fact, that a lady that I used to work with, whose home that Prince stayed in, her mother's home, her name was Sylvia Lovelace Amos. That she was the person who designed the costumes for Vanity Six, the
Mm.
stuff that they wore and stuff. All of that type of information, all that type of information. See, this is why we have to have something that encompasses, that encompasses everything that's related to Minneapolis Sound. I mean, Paisley Park is Paisley Park. That's Prince's thing. But there's a lot of other artists who go unrecognized every day who has been a contributing factor to the Minneapolis Sound. So if you'd like to support the Minneapolis Sound Museum, there is a show, that's right, this next Wednesday at the Capri Theater. I'm going to give you more information a little bit later. Just wanted to make you aware of that, okay?
Did you ever get to hang out at Paisley Park
Yeah, I've
with
been.
Prince?
I've been a couple times.
I knew you did. You gotta have a good story. I can't
Well,
believe I didn't.
Paisley Park sometimes can be like Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there stays there. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. um, as we join our guests, we have someone else who came in. I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't hit women, so I can't really beat up on her. But verbally, I can just mention that she was late, though, right?
I ain't gonna let him do you like that. I was 2 minutes late. That's well right with
Well,
you.
see, now if you want some of this, now
I
I
don't.
got enough.
I don't.
I got enough
When
to
she
go
feels
around.
bad,
I got enough
I
to
know
go
you
around.
love me, but he loves you too. He means it.
Yeah, I'm a grouchy old
It's all
man.
right.
I
That's
don't
what
like
makes it
nothing
fun.
and nobody.
It means come and be yourself. You're
But
loved right where you're at.
but we were talking about the youth, and she said quietly, well, she had to. She was late. Um, we're
You
talking
can
about
get
the
him back
youth
too. He
and
loves it.
some of the delinquencies, that are attached to these young people. But not only is this person into mental health and is bringing about mental health awareness to the Twin Cities area and everywhere that she could, she's also a candidate for Miss Juneteenth
Yay.
2024. And so I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. I guess I'm going to stop beating up on. Gave me such a hug though, so I got kind of soft.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Imani Boji. I am the secretary for the Minneapolis NAACP. I'm a social worker, a mentor, and an advocate. And I am running for Miss Juneteenth 2024. It is Minnesota's first pageant. It is going to be June 8th at Hamlin University from 2 to 4 p.m.
Mm,
Congratulations.
Thank
mm.
you.
Again, I wanna kind of bring it back up. I know you was listening to some of the conversation that we were having in regards to these homeless young people. I mean, these individuals sometimes, are probably running around with undiagnosed mental health issues. And I just wanted you to speak to that. I mean, I know a lot of us adults are running around with it too, as well. I might be one of them. But to speak to that and how it is probably gotten running rampant, right now, perhaps.
Yes, I definitely think that COVID heightened everything, and people are still trying to get back on track. Um, Youth, they're minors, so their parents are the ones that's gonna be the ones to try to get help from them if they are willing to get help from them. And just the African American community, I believe that um, a lot of people have stigmas towards mental health or are in denial that they think the youth are just displaying behaviors that they will grow out of, but mental health awareness is real, and that is definitely my platform for the pageant. It is mental health awareness, educating on generational trauma, and the power of healing within the African American community.
Mm. You know, when when we talk about mental health, I look at where we've come. I'm an older individual. When I was coming up, there was the term mental health was not even in play. You were either retarded or crazy. Even if your brother had what has been diagnosed or identified now as Down syndrome, he was still crazy or retarded according to the peers, the kids in the neighborhood, and your house was the crazy house. We didn't even walk in front of your house. We walked on the grass and walked around because of the stigma that was attached. And I think that because of that stigma that was attached to it has made generations really not act upon discovering that there might be something wrong. How would you?
And that's definitely where the generational trauma comes into play. Um, What I would say is that I feel like more African Americans are seeking help, but when you're seeking help, it's a process. Saying, like, for example, if you're seeking therapy, you have to continue going to therapy and then also do the work yourself. Um, and for me, I have two foreign parents. One's from Nigeria and one's from Haiti. I definitely feel like I can align with you saying that mental health was not a thing in the house, um, and you just misbehaving. They just thought we can beat it out of you. You know, I would say now times have changed, and in the past, my family has had to have state mandated, therapy. Um, I don't really know if I feel like it worked in the past, but I definitely would like to revisit that. Um, but again, people have to be willing because it's your right to medication. Um, it's your right to medication, and I just want to bring awareness to generational trauma. Not knowing what it was a couple years ago when I was teaching from Freedom for Freedom Schools, it can be in your DNA,
I love
and
freedom
you
schools.
and thank you. You may not know why you're acting the way you're acting. If mental health and awareness is not introduced to you in your family, in your church, in your school, um, and I also believe, yes, there are people suffering from mental health, illnesses and youth, but IEP is not always the way. I definitely feel like IEPs are the pipeline to the prison system.
Hmm.
And some families are looking for a quick check. Um, and the schools are just getting the funding and not getting the right services for the child that they put on the IEP.
Yeah, I agree. I worked in special ed in the schools for over 18 years. I left the school system to do this. I gave them back their kids and such because I was, I don't know, kind of a dressed up security guard, so to speak, and was not able to fully provide the type of service that I knew how to provide. And I was in special ed for the, mm, I, 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 I was at Crawford. I don't know if you know, with Minneapolis public schools, there was only like 6 kids to a class. They came to school on a short bus, and the classes were locked. They moved around like that. That's how you moved around. No window on the door, so yep, nobody went to the bathroom.
Where
None of the
is
stuff.
Crawford?
It was over southeast, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around Industrial
I mean,
Boulevard.
that just sounds illegal. And
Something.
just to hear the stories that Minneapolis public schools have had, it's definitely interesting.
Hey, and again, as you mentioned, not not admitting that you're not able to provide the type of services that is necessary to make corrections to this condition. See, because it's not just a mental illness; it is a condition. Like you said, this trauma handed down, has been
Mhm.
handed down, which constitutes a condition. And so it's okay. I mean, like you can treat a wound, but how do you treat a condition?
And I think too, like when we came on, my organization is systems changing. It's also kind of how mine works. My degree is actually human development and family studies, so you probably didn't know that, but that's my field. Well, how we are raised, what could impact us in different ways, what can we do to become healthy, reciprocal adults, and the things along a pathway that take us out of that. And so I think that even naturally, when we think of mental stuff, the first thing we even go to is mental illness. And mental illness is different than mental health. We
Hmm.
have to keep our mental health at the forefront. And unfortunately, it's a thing you have to do consciously because it's not going to come naturally. Our mind is what creates what we do. So if we're in a high stress situation, that's where we're going. So we have to understand that there's going to be flexibilities. And when we look at how the system is set up, that the system isn't created to make your mind healthy. They're not teaching you how to deal with trauma. There's an emphasis in mainstream media of what is good and is the best thing, that is almost just hypnotic when it comes to how you watch things. But they had to understand that your mental health is part of your health. And if you're not doing check-ins with how you feel, which we're not taught to do, we don't think about it, and you'll you won't address it, and then you got to take that stress out of kind of dealing with it. And that's what we got to do. You got to understand, if my fingers broke, my fingers broke. It's no more of an important issue to take care of as that. It has to be normalized that it's okay. We go through things that are hard, and it's okay. It's a hard thing,
Hmm.
you know? And I think we haven't been able to really break that down. I think because like over the last 5 years, the whole system has just skyrocketed and fell apart, and everything now is really about maintaining and kind of moving forward versus looking at taking an advanced step to be healed. And so we have to we don't they don't teach emotional intelligence. They think you're supposed to be angry if someone makes you angry, but you can be taught skills where you can be angry but not react. Just like racism. You can be racist in your thought, but it's not going to make a difference to me. Racism, definition of it, is what you do with it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a power and action to do over me, it doesn't make no difference to me. If you racist, it don't have anything to do with me. And so we have to think about too, we have to really emphasize to people when they think about mental illness, we often think about bipolar or really
Or
long term
schizophrenia.
diagnosis, but it can also be PTSD,
A lot of it is
long term
PTSD.
chronic stress. You know,
Hmm.
that has a huge effect, long term
Oh,
chronic stress, and you can't get diagnosis or
very,
support for that
very huge,
anywhere.
very huge.
Fear.
That's why, first thing, I want to thank you for using this as a platform. I know this is a first. The thing is that as a candidate for Miss Juneteenth, it's not just because you're beautiful, not just because you're black. You have a reason, and you want to use that to be an ambassador to carry the word and the awareness of mental health. I mean, I guess it's obvious why you chose it, But again, as Miss Juneteenth, what do you think that would be most important that, because I know that even in doing this, it could, let's say challenge mental health to some degree. Um, so tell us, and I think the question I want to ask is that how will you utilize this vehicle to distribute the message of mental health awareness?
Well, I already been doing it. So I feel like being on the platform of the Miss Juneteenth is spreading the message to more people. Different avenues that I am spreading this message of mental health awareness is through the Minneapolis NAACP. We have healing circles the first Thursday of every month where we have people just come lay your grievances down. Um, some months we do have like planned topics. Other than that, they are able to email me so we can set up their discrimination complaint meetings from them getting fired from their job or them being discriminated with the Minneapolis Police Department or just out in the community. Also, with the president, we facilitate different restorative justice circles at places like Turning Point, HCMC, um, talking to the case managers about being person centered with their clients and um, knowing about crisis intervention and trauma informed care to actually build a relationship with the client so they can get the services, because again, if the client doesn't feel comfortable, they're not going to come and get the services, right? um, Other than that, I'm thinking with the child protection committee within the NAACP, Khalees Houston, she's the chair for that. She's working on the African American Family Preservation Act, which we're
Mm,
asking the Minnesota Child
we got to
Protection
clap for her because
Services.
they signed that bill. They
Mhm.
they signed that bill. We got to clap for her, and I can bear witness to that. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
No,
continue.
sorry. Um, we are just asking Minnesota Child Protection Services to, when they are taking children of color out of their houses, to place them with the next family of kin or their custodial parents, because um, Minnesota, they have been placing them with people that do not look like them. Even when the parents have went through the process of getting their child back, it's just hard for them to get their child back. They don't want to give up, these some of these white families don't want to give the child back because they're
Mhm.
getting a check.
Mhm.
Whereas you could have gave the check to the parent to get more services for the child, so they could have kept their child in the first place.
Mhm.
So those are just a few things that I'm doing. Also with the Doorstep Legacy Foundation, that is with Doctors Akia and Debonair's organization. I'm a mentor and I work at Friendship Academy on Wednesdays in the evening, and then Dakota County Jail on Thursdays. So with the kids at Friendship, I'm able to teach them emotional intelligence, positive communication, anger management, and at the jail, the same things, and then trying to help them figure out a positive exit strategy so they can be elevated when they come out of jail and stay out of jail. And that's the juvenile correctional facility.
Mhm.
Mm. Well, here's my thing. Tell us and tell the listening audience why you are the best candidate for Miss Juneteenth 2024.
Well, I believe that I am the best candidate for Miss Juneteenth 2024 because I already have been exemplifying um, what the what the queen is supposed to be doing, which is community service, uplifting their community, making their community aware of different disparities like mental health awareness. That is a big grievance in the African American community, and also making them aware of the power of healing. We can definitely heal ourselves if we have the right tools.
Hmm. Hmm. So I'm thinking, in order for you to become Miss Juneteenth 2024, what is it that our listening audience and other community citizens can do to assist you in this endeavor?
Well, you guys can come to the pageant. It is June 8th, Saturday, June 8th at Hamlin University from 2 to 4 p.m. You can find the tickets online at missjuneteenthmn.org. And I'm also continuing to take sponsorships. You can email me at aihomon15 at gmail.com, and I can send you my sponsorship letter if you would like to support me financially as well.
Hmm. Because as I was doing your email, I kept saying, Pronunciation, pronunciation. How do I pronounce her name? And the thing is, it looks like it might be kind of loud, but give us the proper pronunciation again.
It is Ayman, and it's Nigerian.
See, see, and it's so
It's
silent,
Nigerian,
and
guys.
it looks so I don't know. I guess it looked bigger, to me than what it was. Um, a national holiday is what this is what, the second, third year for Juneteenth.
I think it's about the third year because it was 2020 when they got it.
Maybe the fourth.
Yeah, fourth, but it's Minnesota's first pageant. Um, yeah,
Wow. Well, I'm thinking, now that it's totally legitimate, people get the day off and that sort of thing. Now, this is a vehicle that something that you have to represent us for a year. After that year, is it up?
after that year, I'm gonna continue doing the work that I'm doing in the community with mental health awareness, uplifting the community with the NAACP. I'm a part of a few cohorts called the ACLU. We're working on decreasing the prison population right now. Also working with the Wilder Foundation on different equity crash course training. So I'm just continuing to uplift myself. What the future may look like is going to law school. I do want to be a lawyer so I can legally help these individuals fight, other than just socially and at the macro level of social work.
Hmm. So, well, I'm wondering what it's like with other contestants. Are there similar platforms, or are they the same, or are they different?
I know about two platforms. Another one is education. I think two are education. I'm not too sure about the other girls. We do have like different classes for the pageant, and we are able to come as we see fit. So I bonded with all the girls like on a different level.
Hmm. Okay, well, listen, here's what we're going to do. Again, it's always, we always have to take a break every now and then. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to go to a quick break and we're going to come back because we do have another guest as well. And then we're going to put all of this together after we speak with this particular guest because all of these issues, all of these subjects that we're talking about right now are all relevant to what's happening in the community right now. Is that all right with you guys?
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay,
is.
we're going to take a break and we'll be back. You're tuned in to the Twin Cities Radio Network. Buy that hat though. That hat though. That's right. The Hat Boutique, located at 7970 Brooklyn Boulevard in Brooklyn Park, provides the best in hats for church, for every day, for just any dress wear. That hat though. Remember the accessories, shawls, all things that might need. And this weekend, I know for sure that there is a sale on all straw hats as well as the shawls. So you might want to stop through at 7970 Brooklyn Boulevard. Remember, that dress might be cute, but that hat though.
That hat though.
Once again, thank you for tuning in to the Twin Cities Radio Network as we're joined by another one of our guests here today. And first of all, I want to say thank you for being able to make it on short notice. Once we had got hooked up, seeing how I let Angela in, I just figured, I might as well let Maurice in.
Don't hate.
I'm just
You know you
saying,
love me.
I,
And
I do.
you know we have a good time.
Yeah, I do. I do love you. That's my weakness. I'm gonna turn away like
I
this and
like
everything. Maurice,
love
go
you
ahead and
too.
introduce yourself to our listening audience.
This is Mauricio Ward, founder of Jive, Justice Impacted Individuals Voting Effectively. I'm here because I think you left the back door open and I snuck in. So I'm here. You know, the reason I've come into community and space with you is first and foremost the need to understand that as individuals who are being justice impacted, and now we have that newly formed right to vote on parole and probation. Remember, if you're in county jail and they have you incarcerated and there's an election going on, you can vote, advocate. There's information. They say that they make it available. You have to let them know that you know you can vote, and they need to bring the ballots for you so you can vote. Um, but what we need to do is start participating in the process. It's we can all sit around and complain about what's not happening, but given the opportunity to actually utilize our power, and it's the power most individuals don't. Been told that their vote don't count, but it challenge me. I can show you how your vote can count. Really simple. And like I said, it revolves around participation. The biggest thing we have going on currently is the fact that we have Minneapolis City Council formulating the language in order for us to make justice impacted individuals a protected class. And what that means to you as being justice impacted is that the legal discrimination that's going on currently as you come out and try to replant yourself back in the community would be you'll be able legally to sue individuals who say when your PO say you need to go live with a lord because you have a felony. That'd be discrimination. You cannot do that. When employers say certain things to you and certain languages are used to you, it gives you the ability to, you know, the way they've been weaponizing languages and doing things to us, we'd be able to combat against it. And this gives us a leg up as we move further into coming back into community. The next thing that's going on, the reason I'm here is because on June 8th, IWOX and on Broadway, 1035 West Broadway, Saturday, June the 8th, will be throwing their annual community barbecue. Everything's free, a lot of resources. Individuals, it's a opportunity for us to come out and network. It's an opportunity for us to get together. I'll be there taking names down for individuals who are interested in participating in this movement. Far as writing our council members, letting them know that you're interested in having justice impacted individuals become a protected class. Also, emailing them, having a petition to let them know that there's this movement behind it. Because a reason I say that is because I'm fighting and advocating for just impacted individuals, but our binary brothers and sisters are too going to be fighting to be visible with this Bill of Rights. Um, so that's happening. The barbecue's happening. The other initiative that's going on via Sweetie Pie, Michael Cheney, we have Justice Gardens. Justice Gardens is we have quite a few neighborhood gardens where we're trying to institute the theory that if we don't grow it, we're not going to eat it. And that's very important when you think about food security and food insecurity. Most individuals know about food insecurity, but not food security.
Hmm.
So food security, we want to be able to grow our own. We want to be able to. We had a conversation off mic about the county. Well, look, okay, well, county benefits are telling me exactly what I can and cannot have, or what I need to feed my children. Us being individuals who are trying to maximize the money that we receive, of course, we're going to go to these places where you can get a bag of pizza puffs and all this food that's not have no nutritional value and feed it to our children. But why not just take a few seeds and, in your backyard, start planting that lettuce, that asparagus, that
The
those
onions,
peppers,
that's right.
all that. So you can from your garden make a meal, make your baby food, preserve. Even if you don't know how to do it, the community is so rich with for giving with knowledge that someone will show you how to, So that's why. So it's important for us to be recognized individuals, and important for me to, as a just impacted individual, to go into community, replant myself, replant my garden, and be able to be self-sufficient, and be um, 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 have this
Productive
physically
citizen
physical
to become
autonomy.